challenges. I love just really kind of going through the story, getting as much of a gist of it as possible, and it's almost like a learning experience built into something that's actually enjoyable. I've just fucking I got to a point with it where I'm just, I'm so like deep like deep into it that my mind just won't let me put it down, so I have to manually put that down. But yeah. What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mental Money Podcast. My name is Ross. I'm your host. And what I was talking about there is a little bit of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And, the Assassin's Creed games, if you know them. If you don't, they are kind of like historical almost games. Kind of teach you a little bit about history of like assassins and stuff like that. It's just basically a RPG game. This one's set in the Viking times, so it's got hella Nordic vibes. Been really enjoying it recently, and I'd definitely recommend if you're able to get it, go and get that Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've been really enjoying that recently. I really like the different like moves in the game that you can do. You can do like combinations as well of like light and heavy attacks, and there's like abilities too, so you can like throw your axes. Like there's just such cool like moves. It's just really, really smooth, enjoyable game, and the storyline's captivating. It is, something that you'll be playing through the story and then you'll get dragged out of the story because there's a side quest that's so interesting because it's basically its own proper quest. Just feels very RPG like. It's not just this hack and slash game. I just really like the setup of it. I think the previous ones were kind of poor game wise. I think they were not the best games to play, but this one's top quality. I definitely recommend you go get it. But today's episode ain't about that, right? It's not all gonna be about video games and why I enjoy it. I wanted to get into the topics of young people's mental health, my own story, depression, anxiety, get help, and then an update on the COVID stuff.
You and I go separate ways, 'cause lately I don't feel the way that I used to, that I used to, that I used to, that I used to.
So let's start with young people's mental health. As we know, young people's mental health is more prevalent than ever, so I'm going to dedicate another episode at some point. I'm going to choreograph an episode for young people's mental health, and that will be coming soon. But all I want to really talk about is briefly touch on it today, is that it's more prevalent than ever. It's affecting more children than ever. That you can be asymptomatic of mental health and still have it. You can be of any age, any background, whatever. There's no requirements for mental health issues. Mental health issues affect everyone equally in a way that, like, everyone has an equal right almost of getting mental health, which is kind of rare when we're talking about disorders or maybe diseases, that some people are more likely to get them than others. But young people, even though we assume that they're probably, going through stages anyway, we assume that it's more to do with that they're growing up rather than, or they're developing, rather than dealing with a mental health issue. It's very rare that kids get diagnosed with stuff. Depends where you are. I know in America they diagnose kids all the time with issues, and I disagree with it because diagnosing a child means you're setting them up for a diagnosis that will take them forward in their life, and most of the time they're wrong. So I would not be. I just personally wouldn't diagnose a child because it just seems like you're setting them up for that. Like, if you give them the wrong diagnosis, you've kind of fucked up their progression in a way. And I just don't believe that you should be doing something that could impact that. I just think that when it comes down to it, give these kids, time and give them resources to get help rather than diagnosing them at that point. Maybe a temporary diagnosis because things will probably change for them. I think things change over time, over the period of your life. I'm 23 years old and I didn't have symptoms of mental health growing up. Well, I had symptoms of some mental health issues, but things got a lot worse later on. So it's kind of like, if I had had the resources and stuff like that to deal with whatever, it would have been a lot easier for me now, but the resources aren't always available, so that's kind of tough. Another thing is that young people can seem to brush off mental health. They may not be as self-aware or emotionally intelligent, so they may not see it in themselves, and that can be almost part of the issue as well, is that they don't see it in themselves. So it can be very, very tough for them because they sort of knock it off as, that's who I am, rather than going, look, I'm dealing with an issue and I need to have space. I need to have these things for this to go smoothly, rather than them thinking that everybody hates them. And that's the reason they hate them for them, rather than, them understanding that person is dealing with a mental health issue and maybe they shouldn't place that much judgment on the person. I think it may not be easier growing up if you've got all the support there because it's constantly around you, but I definitely think it's one of the things that could mean you have an easier later life. I definitely believe that if you get the support early on, that you're gonna need less support when you grow up. But if you access that support late, then you're gonna be in that system for longer. So I think it's important that we address young people's mental health. They can deal with it just as much as anyone else, and they are dealing with it a lot more than anyone else. We're just not really paying attention to it. So I just feel like young people's mental health is probably more important than older people's mental health. I don't know. Maybe not more important, I shouldn't have worded it like that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's vital these young people get their issues sorted It's vital these young people get those issues sorted so they can have a decent, progression through their life, and we help these people have better lives, more fulfilled lives, rather than them nudging that to the side and then they tend to, neglect it. And then you end up where you're putting stuff under the rug, it builds up. It's not a good situation. But yeah, young people's mental health is super important. And do I believe that, young people's mental health is like, I don't know how to word it. It's strange because I genuinely believe that probably younger people are more emotionally intelligent than older people, because your brain is more catered to being more aware. I feel like the older we get, the less aware we get, because we are more just having to zone in on what is necessary rather than just everything. I think young people have that creative aura that kind of makes them see the bigger picture. Whereas when you grow older, you accept a lot of things, which kind of means you're accepting a tighter, more focused route. And I just think it's difficult because young people usually don't come forward for mental health stuff, and I don't know why. I was probably more confident when I was younger than I am today. I think there is some sort of, oh, I can deal with this when you're younger though. Whereas when you're older, you accept that you need the help, and because you've probably done it so many times where you've not got help and it's gone wrong, and then you think, shit, maybe I just need some help, and then you find a way to get help, and it makes things a lot easier. It really does. I only accepted I needed help like 3 years ago, and I've made so much progression in those 3 years in all aspects of my mental health. I've made ground. And before that, I didn't do shit. I ain't gonna lie, like, nothing changed. Like, as much as I wanted to work on it by myself, all that pressure, all that stress it's impossible to deal with. You can't, there's no way for your body to carry all of that. So you need to offload some of it, you need to share that. And that really helped me kind of address my issues. What are my issues, and how am I gonna move forward? How am I gonna move forward in a better way? That makes me kind of happy as well, because I now can share with people what is going on with my mental health, rather than it just being all inside my head and feeling like no one can relate. Because a lot of the time when I do share stuff about mental health, people can relate. So it kind of makes you feel not as alone. So I'd definitely say for these younger people that is important, to say the least, And I wanted to talk a little bit about my own story, and tell you guys a little bit about my own story, because some people are probably interested in terms of this podcast. At the moment, there's only me doing it, right? So, but like, who am I to you? Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to kind of explain, and the reason why I don't talk too much about like my story, or maybe why I keep topics from other people, and less about me. So I don't know where's a really good place to start, but a good place to start for me would be, well, I have a particular interest in mental health and psychology and psychiatry. I like researching. And I also really enjoy just problem solving and mental health. I've been through so many different forms of therapy, and I've been through counseling, all of it, I've been through every sector, and you learn a lot through that, but it also perked my interest of like, I wanna like support this. I wanna, not only help myself, but I wanna help other people. And, that's kind of why I started podcasting in the first place, because I wanted to help people. And that's why I kind of keep it topic based. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's just the way I'm formatting it. I'm formatting it that way because every person that sends in a topic that they want discussed is clearly something they want to hear talked about. And also, I give no names with that. Like, if someone sends in that topic, I don't put any names to it. I just present it. And when they view that, that might help them. So it's almost like I'm getting to conversate with you in a way that, through the platform, I'm able to do that. And that's why I really got into the podcasting stuff. Obviously, I watch podcasts and I enjoy lots of different podcasts. But the main reason why I started podcasting was more to do with like a mental health related subject of, I want to help people. And I think, when it comes to me, I obviously deal with depression, anxiety, panic disorder, eating disorders. I've got a mood disorder. I've also then got a personality disorder. So it's like crazy kind of combination for me. I have like things that all very closely relate to each other, so it kind of makes sense that there's so much because they're all very closely stringed together. But sometimes it can be a lot to deal with, I'll admit. And I've been dealing with it for quite a while, so I've had time to kind of work through it and kind of learn how to cope and learn how to, strategize how to move forward, and that's what I'm doing. But also, I'm fully aware that my mental health also then kind of plays out in the podcasts and stuff like that. It will obviously come out here and there, but I try to be as impartial as possible, and I try to be as strong and as stable as possible all the time. And especially for you guys, I wanna help more than to feel like you guys are helping me. I want it to feel like I'm able to provide something to you, an answer, or maybe a debate, a question, something like that. And that's kind of where I come at it from in my story with the podcasting, and why I started and why I continue to do them. That's kind of why. And again, I didn't want it to be too much about me, but yeah, like, I said that I deal with depression and anxiety, and I know that's probably very relatable, a very common disorder amongst people with mental health. And it's difficult to deal with, but I would say if you have mild symptoms of depression and anxiety, you definitely can control them, because it's less of a manic depression, more of maybe a general depression. There is things we can do to kind of like uplift ourselves or keep ourselves kind of out of that headspace, because it's very difficult to get out of a headspace, but it's easier to keep yourself out of the headspace. It's kind of based around routine and also distraction. You need a routine distraction, so it's kind of like you need to be able to have something to do that's going to distract you routinely. If you've not got things distracting you, you're going to get in your own head. And the more you get in your own head, the more you're going to feel depressed, the more you're going to feel anxious, the more those symptoms are going to occur. But the more you keep yourself distracted, the more your brain doesn't have the ability to process the depression and anxiety and keep producing more of it, and then like send your brain in a loop. If you keep breaking up the moments and just live in the moment and break those moments up, it becomes a lot easier to manage with. I call it kind of like micro stepping, and you just kind of taking one step at a time, but very consistently. Like you're just taking micro steps, instead of one big step, and then you've got to wait to take another big step. You just go very slowly, but keep moving forward. Whereas, slow and steady wins the race, basically. I think that's a very decent and been very well received method of treating depression and anxiety, is taking things step at a time rather than going leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds are great when we are feeling great, but sometimes a leap and a bound is too far for someone that is feeling so kind of short of breath, let's say. I genuinely think someone who is dealing with depression is going to feel more tired, so you need to take it a bit easier. You need to go a bit easier on yourself as well, because things are difficult. You can't always feel good. So part of it is also natural. Some depressive states don't even come from something happening. They can just be a completely natural occurrence. We do sometimes get depressed and anxious, so don't think maybe if you do go through one of those states that it's now a whole thing, because it's most likely not gonna be. But if it's an occurring thing, I definitely recommend go get help. And by go get help, go see a doctor, go, and like help is there if you're looking for it. It's just whether you want to go through all the steps to go get it. And maybe you do want to, but you feel like you can't. There's even help for getting help. There's people that make it super simple. You can call up hotlines that will fill out paperwork for you for free. Like, they will do all of it for you. You just need to say it. You could be lying in bed, call these people up. I need this sorting or this. There's also like citizens advice over here. So in the UK, citizens advice is, a really good service. What else? How to get help easier, but there are people out there that will help you along that way. because a lot of it does feel like it's a big step, and I think again you need to break it down, do those micro steps. The micro step would be going getting help for that process, or just someone to help you through it, maybe a friend, a family member. They can help you kind of write all these papers, like fill in the paperwork and stuff, or maybe they can help you kind of stay on track with it, or maybe they can help you kind of research a little bit. There's always help there. I hate thinking that, well, I try not to think like the whole, oh, you can't get help or something like that. I don't truly believe that. I think help is possible to get, man, and it's okay if you don't want to go get help. I get it, but my recommendation as someone who's dealt with mental health for quite a while and been through a lot of the different services is that it will benefit you, if you just give it a go. And you won't enjoy it immediately, but you might even start to find some enjoyment out of that whole process. I don't know. I think it's better than people think. There's a lot of like bad reviews of stuff out there, but there's also a lot of good reviews. So it could be a person to person basis. You go in to one service, you enjoy it, the next person might not, but you don't know till you try. And that would be my recommendation for getting help. I think that it's always been available to you in this circumstance. It's just now you need to make that conscious decision to go forward with it. I think that you will benefit from it. It will help you. It will kind of upgrade your knowledge of yourself and help you kind of move forward with your life, or maybe destroy hurdles before you have to take them. I think that's another important part of mental health progression is, foreseeing what could be stressful before it happens, and then trying to figure out a way of making it less stressful before it happens. And that's what I kind of mean by my analogies. My analogy of breaking the hurdle before you have to jump over it. So it's just easier that way. You're not constantly jumping over these hurdles, getting tired. You kind of just you're walking. You may not be doing it the quickest, and you may not be doing it like the nicest way, but kind of doing that process makes things so much easier. And that's what we want. We don't want this super, like, a challenge is great, right? A challenge is necessary, but to not get help isn't going to challenge you. Like not getting help is just going to kind of make things worse. Whereas if you do, then that easier ride, that easier kind of step forward is, I don't know. It's up to you, obviously, whether you do or don't, but it's something that I would definitely say I've seen reproduce good things. I've never seen it kind of make someone worse. So that's kind of the way I look at it, and you can disagree with me. That's fine. Or you can agree with me, that's also fine. But it is personal at the end of the day. That's your choice. You do as you please and do what makes you happy. Don't do something just because I've said it. Do something that you thought out. I'm just trying to help give you thoughts and opinions on it, and trying to be unbiased as a person that's gone without help and then got help. It's I can see it from both sides of the table. For people who don't want to get help, I can definitely see that. COVID-19, even though we're in 2020, and then soon to be 2021. But yeah, fucking COVID-19 at the moment, we've now saying that we're getting these vaccines, and we're gonna have to buy like a bunch of them, you know, and by a bunch of them, I'm talking millions. So not only is that going to be hella expensive, how the fuck the world's going to afford all this vaccine? No idea. We're just going to put ourselves more in debt. But for, I guess, the right cause. It's just whether these vaccines are as good as they're saying. I just want to see the results first. I don't want to take a vaccine that I know nothing about. I don't usually get vaccines for stuff that is kind of more like low risk. So like if it was something serious, obviously I'll go get the injection. But if it's something not so serious to me, I have to question it. And I question these vaccines that have been produced so fast, because, you know, they said, oh, we're going to be waiting till another year for a vaccine and this much money invested into it. And now they're like, within a week of them saying that, they're like, oh, we have vaccines. So that doesn't really make much sense to me straight away. I feel like maybe they've rushed these and they're not going to be all of what they're cut out to be. But it could go fine and they might work really well. So I've just got to do more research on it personally, but that's something recent, is these vaccines. And there's two different labels making them. There's the is it Pfizer? Yeah, Pfizer. And I can't remember what the other one is called. I could. One of them is Pfizer, and the other one is. It was just up. BioNTech? BioNTech. Is that it? I'm pretty sure there was another one, right? There was surely another one. AstraZeneca, that's it. The one we're producing is called AstraZeneca. And they have a website. Most of them have a website, and they always seem a little dodgy. So it's genetic material of SARS-CoV-2 virus spike protein. So it was co-invented by the University of Oxford and its spin-out company, Vaccitech. It uses a replication-deficient chimpanzee viral vector based on a weakened version of common cold virus, adenovirus, that causes infections in chimpanzees and contains the genetic material of SARS-CoV-2 virus spike protein. After vaccination, the surface spike protein is produced, priming the immune system to attack the SARS-CoV-2 virus if later infects the body. That was AZD12222. AstraZeneca is a global science-led biopharmaceutical company that focuses on the discovery, development of commercialization of prescription medications, primarily for the treatment of diseases in free therapy areas, oncology, cardiovascular, and renal and metabolism, and also respiratory and immunology. Based in Cambridge, UK, AstraZeneca operates in over 100 countries and is the innovative medicines are used by patients worldwide. So that's the AstraZeneca one that we are doing, and it's the AZD1222 clinical trials, because they were resumed in September. September 6th. So yeah, that's the new one, and then Pfizer have got one. Let's see here. This is a National Geographic post. Pfizer, the name of the vaccine is BNT, so that would be the BioNTech 162b2. So it's based in New York in collaboration with German biotech company BioNTech. RNA status, so filing emergency authorization from the FDA just 2 days after announcing the conclusion of the phase trials. Their company stated they've met their primary goals. The analysis, the candidate found to be 95% effective in preventing mild and serious cases of COVID-19 and 94% effective in adults over 65 years old with no serious safety concerns. The announcement updates figures from the interim analysis released a little more than a week ago, wherein the companies reported 90% efficiency. As yet, they have provided no underlying data to back that claim. It's still unclear if the vaccine produces a durable immune response. The companies also explained if the vaccine works by reducing disease symptoms or blocking the virus entirely. Pfizer also launched a vaccine delivery pilot program with 4 US states, Rhode Island, Texas, Mexico, and Tennessee, to prepare for deployment of the vaccine. In July, the companies launched a trial that combines phase 2 and phase 3, enrolling a diverse population in areas with significant SARS-CoV-2 transmission. It's expanded the trial to include 44,000 people across multiple countries. Preliminary results of phase 1-2 data showed that vaccine produces antibodies and T-cell responses specific to SARS-CoV-2 protein. Pfizer expect to be able to produce up to 50 million vaccine doses in 2020 and 1.3 billion doses by the end of 2021. It has signed a nearly $2 billion contract with the US government to provide 100 million doses for free. Through the New York Times reports that only half of its supply will go to the US this year. Questions are raised over the vaccine storage, which required ultra-cold freezers set at minus 70 degrees Celsius, which is minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. So, what is also quite funny is the University of Oxford's COVID vaccine is called ChAd-OX1 nCoV-19, and that is the AstraZeneca one. is that the newer one or the older one that they had? There's also another one, a Chinese biopharmaceutical company in collaboration with Brazilian research center Butantan, which is called Coronavac, even because their company's called Sinovac. So there's a lot of companies. Like a Russian place, the Gamaleya National Center of Epidemiology and Microbiology have produced something called Sputnik V. Bharatech, which is an Indian biotechnological company, Covaxin. There's Moderna Therapeutics, and that's it. There's a lot of vaccinations out there, and they're all being produced relatively quick. So I'd just watch out for that. You know, those vaccines and stuff seem to be being produced by a lot of different people, and they're all going to be different, and they're all going to do different things. So it's definitely something to keep updated on. I just thought I'd put a little bit of an update in there and let you guys know where it's at. And yeah, COVID-19 looks like it's going to be here till around, I'd say, past Christmas, past all that. I'd say into the new year, and then it might start to calm down a little bit, but till then it's really just going to stay the same. We're finding life more stable now. We're getting less of the up down, so that's also beneficial. I just think that we're going to be sticking with it for a while, and it's not something that can just go away overnight, so it's a waiting process. But yeah, I've really enjoyed today's episode. I've really enjoyed being here. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for listening to the topics of today's episode. And also, don't forget, guys, please don't forget that there is a Patreon page where you can go and support the podcast and get access to exclusive perks that people through the YouTubes do not have. You get early access to episodes before they're released. You get loads of different things from as little as £3 a month. So for as little as one meal from Tesco, a £3 meal deal, you can get access to exclusive perks of the podcast for a whole month. So that is over at patreon.com/mentalmanny. And then there's also my Instagram page, which is onlyfate, onlyfxte. Go over there, give it a follow. But yeah, I will catch you guys probably in a couple of days. I'll be making a new episode. Really appreciate everyone who's kind of stuck with it from the start. Appreciate all of you. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode, where hopefully I can talk a bit more about young people's mental health, and maybe soon we're going to be getting a guest on the podcast. But yeah, that's all up and coming. Enjoy your day or night wherever you are, and I am out. Peace.
You and I go separate ways, 'cause lately I don't feel the way that I used to.